Okay, hello everybody. Just want to ask Sandag Production if we are ready. It's 3. Hello, Mayor Dedina.
Good afternoon, Mayor Blakespear. Production is ready, but clerk, I believe, is checking your quorum.
Okay.
Chair, we are a couple shy on quorum, so if we could just give people a few minutes.
Okay. And if we don't have a quorum, I mean, we can still have these presentations and talk about it today, right? Because there's no decision being made.
That may be a question for legal, Mayor.
Okay, is legal. I mean, I would like to have this meeting. I see at least Ed Musgrove and Serge Dedina and myself and Gustavo, and we have an agenda of people who are supposed to speak. So I would like to have the meeting even if we don't have a quorum. Oh, and Kaylin. I see Kaylin here.
Yes, hi, Chair. Peter Stevens here. Guidance from Office General Counsel is to not have the meeting if there was not quorum at the time.
Okay, I might overrule the guidance, given that we don't vote on anything. And there's Councilmember Moreno, but we'll give it another minute or two to see what's happening. But
I think all the best people are here.
Exactly.
Well, you know, Mayor Blakespear, we missed you last night in Encinitas. We had a wonderful evening at your amazingly beautiful restaurant, Urban Sea. What a great place, huh?
Oh, that's so great. Yeah, I'm so sorry I couldn't make that. That's great that you had it there and that you had a great time.
Yeah, Tara came. So all the best people were there. We missed you, but yeah, it was extraordinarily beautiful evening, and just fantastic food, and what a great restaurant. So anyway.
Yeah. No, good. Well, that's good to hear. All right, how are we doing on quorum? How many more people do we need?
We need one more. I know that Mayor Huebner said that she would be a little bit late, but we are still one shy.
So I support the active resistance by just holding the meeting. I think it's fine, but so.
Thank you for the second on that. I appreciate that.
And if you end up going to jail, I volunteer to go for you. So anyway.
Okay.
No, we'll send. I know Councilmember Moreno. No, she won't. She's shaking her head. Nope.
She's not going to jail.
Never mind.
What's going on in your city, Councilmember Moreno? What would you like to share today before we actually start the litter question?
What is not going on? I don't know if your guys' cities have been the same, but we are busy.
Yes, it is true.
So much.
We feel very busy too. We're preparing for our budget because we have our first meeting tomorrow about the priorities and discussion and all that.
We don't start that. I think it's the mayor releases his budget on the 15th of April. So that's when we begin that. But I mean, you name it, we are talking about it.
Yeah,
That's
good.
Yeah, it is good. It is very good.
I like all the stuff you guys talk about when I read it in the newspaper. Sometimes I take it into my city. Say, hey, they're doing this in San Diego. This is half the county. So let's see what we can do in our little corner up here.
Yeah, no, we do have some neat stuff and a lot of housing coming in. So we're excited.
Yeah.
Exciting. The sports arena we're going to be discussing, and it's all good stuff. Some good stuff and some bad stuff, right? So I don't know if you want everything we're dealing with, but yes.
We'll just take the good stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna go my own way here, man, chairing this committee, and I'm gonna start. And then we will call a quorum together when the next person logs in, and we'll officially begin the meeting. But we'll just start on the actual reports, which are just information anyway. So just to announce what's happening here, this is the San Diego Regional Litter Abatement Subcommittee. It's Tuesday, March 22, 2022. So that's kind of a cool date. And it is 5 minutes after 3. And so first, once we have a quorum, we'll go back to our member comments and non-agenda public comments. But for now, and we'll also go back to our meeting minutes, but for now, we're going to move on to our reports. So we have Gustavo Delarda, which we're very thrilled to have him because he's the director of Caltrans District 11. Very responsive, and I appreciate that, Gustavo. He's going to give us an update on the Clean California, which is, he'll tell us what that is. But Gustavo last briefed the Litter Abatement Subcommittee about Clean California in October. And this is good money that's available from the state level to clean up our streets and graffiti. And luckily, we positioned ourselves to get some of that straight money to come here to this part of the state. So I'm really thrilled by that. And I would like to hand it over to Gustavo to give an update.
Mayor, Councilmember Musgrove, if you have a second.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, can we get it from,
Councilmember Musgrove, I can't hear you. Can you say it again?
yeah, I'm sorry, I had some interference. I would like an opinion from legal. Hang on one second. How about now?
We could hear, I could hear your
Oh,
opinion from legal.
Okay, great, thanks. I was having a little problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, is there an issue with, if legal could advise if there's an issue of us beginning without a quorum and we're discussing agendized items?
Yes, hi, Peter Stevens, San Diego Office of General Counsel. Our guidance on this issue, it's a Brown Act issue of whether or not a meeting can take place. And our guidance is that if there's not a quorum, that we should not start the meeting.
Then I would move we adjourn until we have a quorum or suspend until we are sure we have a quorum.
Okay, we don't need to make a motion for that. We'll just delay a bit until another person logs in and we have a quorum. I see Councilmember Moreno's hand has gone up.
I was gonna say, suggest the same thing, if we could just take a few minutes and wait for other folks. I'm not comfortable moving forward without a quorum.
Okay. Okay. Great. Well, thank you everybody again for joining us. This is the Litter Abatement Subcommittee. And it's Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. So our first item is public comment and member comment. Do we have any non-agenda public comments?
Chair, I do see 3 hands up from the public. Just a reminder to the public, this is for comments on topics not on today's agenda. Our first speaker will be Scott Horst, who will be followed by Sally Small. Scott, you can go ahead whenever you're ready.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm with the organization called Street Stewards that was started in Ocean Beach in 2019. It's an adopt-a-block litter program, litter pickup program started by Aaron Knoll. And we're now in 10 communities in San Diego. And those include Ocean Beach, Pacific Beach, North Park, which were 3 of the first ones, Point Loma, University City, Escondido, Hillcrest and Mission Hills, Normal Heights, Kensington, Golden Hill and East Village, City Heights, and Oak Park. It's a website started in Ocean Beach. It's a Facebook platform. And if you get a chance to look at it and you look at Ocean Beach, Pacific Beach, and North Park, you will see there's about greater than 75% adoption coverage in those communities. And it's made a significant difference in those communities. I joined the organization in 2020. I live in Escondido, and I brought it up to Escondido, and we're seeing a big difference there. And we're just looking to introduce ourselves to you guys and to possibly get on an agenda down the road where we can make a more formal presentation about what we're doing and how we can coordinate with you guys. One of our hopes, our big hope, is a national launch of this program with a phone app. And so we're working towards that direction, but we're also working regionally in San Diego. It's where it started, and all the communities that we're servicing right now are in San Diego, and hoping we can work with you guys. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker will be Sally Small, who will be followed by Catherine Rhodes. Sally, you can go ahead when you're ready.
Hello. Sorry, I'm listening to Katanji Brown Jackson right now. I'm with the Emerald Hills Neighborhood Council, and I wanted to say thank you for those of you that are doing the Adopt a Highways and the street stewards. We'd love to see you down south of the 94. So I hope he gets back to us. As an Adopt a Highway group, we have 94 in Kelton on the eastbound side. And we understand that we're supposed to be getting some money for our ramps, depending on how many we do. And we haven't seen any money yet, which we could use to help clean up our little pocket park that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final speaker will be Catherine Rhodes. Catherine, you can go ahead.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Well, today the state auditor released a report called the State Surplus Property Report. And what it shows is that there's a lot of available property that the state owns, including property owned by Caltrans that could help the affordable housing and the homeless crisis. You know, back I think in the 80s, San Diego created the Neil Good Day Center. And what that was the first time there was a law that allows something besides transportation on the freeways. And so what they did is they used a triangle between an on-ramp and an off-ramp over on 17th Street and created the Neil Good Day Center. That was supposed to be a model so that we could use that same model and use all these little triangle areas that we have all over San Diego as a place where we could put, let's say, a few tiny homes, something. There's also a big swatches of land, I think, right at Miramar Airport, right along the Highway 15, which would be a place where we could put a whole bunch of different houses, even maybe just affordable housing. So, you know, the biggest, the most people who have trash, I believe, are probably all the homeless people that live on the freeways. It's probably not necessarily people throwing trash out their window. I don't really think, I've never seen that lately. And so the homeless create all this trash, all this litter. And, you know, one of the things I think I heard is the Lucky Duck Foundation said they're putting, or somebody with them, they're putting a big, they're buying a Edco big, huge trailer and allowing everybody to put trash in that like 2 times a week. So they'll bring the trailer down and allow people to, you know, have a trash can. There's no trash cans for people who are homeless that are living on Caltrans land. I believe if you provided them trash cans or allowed them to take their trash in, you know, once a week. And for the city of San Diego, you know, the city of San Diego has that ordinance where it says that everybody who is residential, not commercial, is supposed to get free trash pickup. But San Diego forgets all about the homeless, even though they are residential. They're residential sitting on the streets. They're not commercial. They're not commercial. So they should get free trash pickup and they don't. So just so thinking about the homeless people and what you could do to stop the crisis so you have less litter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and Chair, that concludes the public comments.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any member comments? Let me see. I don't see any hands up. Hello, Mayor Huebner. It's good to see you.
Good to be here. Sorry for my late arrival. I'm told the clerk that I would be a little late. I apologize.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. We're happy to have a quorum and be able to get started. So, okay, next we have approval of meeting minutes. So do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Thank
Second,
you.
Vargas.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and vote.
Thank you. For the city of Encinitas, Chair Blakespear.
Yes.
For the city of Imperial Beach, Mayor Dedina.
Yes.
The city of Lemon Grove is absent. The city of National City is absent. For the city of Poway, Councilmember Frank.
Yes.
For the city of San Diego, Councilmember Moreno.
Moreno, yes.
For the County of San Diego, Supervisor Vargas.
Vargas, yes.
For the City of San Marcos, Councilmember Musgrove.
Musgrove, yes.
For the City of Solana Beach, Mayor Heathner.
Evener, yes.
And the City of Vista is absent. And so that item does pass unanimously with those members present.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we are on to number 3, which is an update from Gustavo Delarda, the Director of Caltrans District 11, who is going to give us an update on Clean California. And the last time we talked about this at the Litter Abatement Subcommittee was last October. So we are excited to be directing some of the $1 billion that came from the state into this county. So I'm excited to hear the update from Gustavo. So with that, go ahead, Gustavo.
Thank you, Chair Blakespear, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to be doing a presentation. I think we are on that's a few slides into the presentation. So if we can go back to the first one. I'm going to be talking about Clean California, which is, thank you. It's a 1.1 billion program initiated by Governor Newsom and funded in the 21-22 fiscal year budget to remove trash, engage communities, educate people, and transform public spaces, and all at the same time as creating good jobs to clean up our state. Let's go on to the next slide. So the presentation will focus on some trash trends. Then I'll talk about the Adopt a Highway program, some dumpster day events that we've been holding, the state beautification projects, the local grants beautification projects, and then I'll conclude with partnerships and engagement. So let's go on to the next slide. So where are we at? In the first 8 months of the fiscal year, we've picked up 41,000 cubic yards of trash. That is more than we picked up last year, and we still have another 4 months to go to the end of the fiscal year. So how much trash is that? 41,300 cubic yards. Well, it's enough to completely cover the San Diego Zoo, fill 1,161 school buses, or cover 77 football fields. By the end of the year, at this pace, we're projected to pick up more than 54,000 cubic yards of trash. So let's go on to the next slide. One of the things that we've been doing since Clean California started, we were doing this before as well, but not to the same level and intensity as we're doing now. You may recall some swarm maintenance that we did prior to Clean California. Swarm maintenance is where we close a portion of a highway because it's the safest way to get the work done. And then we target multiple items at the same time. One of them is to pick up trash, but also we're taking care of weeds. We're also taking care of pavement. We're sealing pavement. We're fixing guardrail, and we're doing all sorts of maintenance activities. So since last July 1st, when the fiscal year started, we've done this at 96 locations. We're challenging ourselves to have the individual crews doing a minimum of 1 ramp per month, which they are totally exceeding, because they're actually, right now, they're looking at doing about 20 per month. Again, we have still a few months to go in the fiscal year, so we're going to be exceeding more than 100 by far by the end of the year. And the results are shown basically in some of the areas, like in the picture that you see on this slide. This is an area that is a lot easier to get to. You have traffic on both sides, a lot safer for our maintenance staff to do this while there's no traffic on the road. Let's go on to the next slide. So this highlights what I was just talking about, that we have boots in the grounds in these closed areas, and we're doing a lot more than just picking up trash. The next 2 locations that we're going to be targeting with these swarm maintenance closures is in April. We're going to be on State Route 125 in Lemon Grove. And in May, we're targeting the I-5 portion in downtown where the S-curves are. And we're going to be partnering with the city of San Diego on that cleanup. So let's go on to the next slide. So let me talk a little bit about resources. So when I was here last October, I reported that we had hired 32 service assistant managers. These are entry-level positions for people that were hired as part of our hiring events in San Diego and Imperial County. And as of today, we have 63 service assistant managers on board. So we've doubled the number of entry-level positions that we hired in October. And we're projected to hire another 17 before the end of the fiscal year for a total of 80 positions. In terms of special crews, we currently have 4. These are the veteran outreach crews, and you've heard updates from them, as well as the Center of Employment Opportunity. They've done updates to this committee before. So we currently have 4 crews, which is a total of about, there's about 7 people per crew. So it's easy to do the math. And we are looking at adding another 2 in April and another 3 in June for a total of 11 crews by the end of the fiscal year. So we're targeting to have about 77 individuals in these 11 crews by the end of the fiscal year. So that's the raw numbers of what we've added since Clean California started. Let's go on to the next slide. So Adopt a Highway was completely changed as part of Clean California because, as Sally mentioned, there are now stipends available. And Sally, we will for sure reach out to you and the Emerald Hills Council and let you know how you can apply to receive the stipends. The stipends are about $250 per adoption, once per month. And this has allowed us to get people excited and organizations excited about adopting more locations. So since Clean California started, we've adopted 82 locations, new locations, which brings our total to 427 total adoptions. The 82 new adoptions is the biggest number in the entire state. We're exceeding by far any other district in the state. You may wonder why the total number of adoptions doesn't seem to be much different from what we had before. And part of that is, as part of the accountability, we're also auditing the groups that we had before, as well as the new groups that we signed in. And 77 locations had to be closed because the groups were not doing what they were supposed to be, which was cleaning up the roadways. So although we've added 82 locations, we actually have closed 72 and made those available for groups that are actually interested in getting the work done. I think that this is a very successful, even though the number of total adoptions hasn't gone up significantly, we do have more groups. We have more sponsorships also. When we started reporting to this group, the breakdown between groups picking up the litter themselves or groups paying someone as a sponsorship, bringing in a contractor to do the cleanups, we had about 75% of people doing the work themselves and 25% of the groups contracting a professional contractor to do the work. We're now at 58% sponsorship. So we've doubled the number of sponsorships that we had. And although we have a lot of volunteer groups that do a great job, don't take me wrong, the contractors are a little more reliable because they are professional, they are paid to do this. And so the fact that we've increased the number of sponsorships also is reflecting better on the areas that are getting cleaned by the Adopt a Highway, groups. So let me go to the next slide. So we're also holding events where we invite the communities to bring their unwanted goods and their trash, and we basically dispose of it for them. There are some limitations, but we do take things like tires and trash. What we don't take is appliances or hazardous materials. In terms of the number of events that we have of this nature, we've had 15. which is more than any other region has had in the state. So that is another area where we're leading the state. An example of 4 locations where we held these events on Caltrans maintenance yards were recently in Kearney Mesa, Lemon Grove, and also in the County of Imperial in El Centro and in Brawley. We're also planning to do 2 events, or actually 2 locations on the same day on April 23rd. We're gonna have another event back in Kearney Mesa and one in Chula Vista. And that will coincide with a statewide free dumpster day event on April 23rd. Let's go on to the next slide. On some of these events, we're actually partnering with elected officials as well as with communities and local cities and groups. And some of the ones, some examples of these are the events that we held in Southcrest, Logan Heights, and Chula Vista. And in some of these events where we're partnering with local cities, also sometimes local cities have their own events, and if they're next to a highway, they ask us to come in and also do maintenance on the highway, pick up litter as we are doing. These events are great because they prevent illegal dumping, which is what I'm going to show on the next slide. But before we go there, I want to mention that gives us an opportunity to engage and educate the public about recycling resources. And for example, one of the individuals from the community that brought some unwanted items, you can see on the top picture there, how they also had a lot of loose items on the back of that pickup truck. And you can see that pickup truck driving at freeway speed, by the time they go to their destination, all of that stuff will be all over the place. So educating the people about tarping loads, also providing them with resources if necessary, but also engaging and educating them about recycling resources as well. So let's go on to the next slide. So this is what I was talking about. When we don't hold these events, this is where the trash ends up sometimes. This is the site of an illegal dumping that we actually had to, unfortunately, go out and clean ourselves. So let's go on to the next slide. So next, I'm going to talk about the beautification projects. And there are 2 different programs here. The first program is a state beautification project. This is looking at state highways and areas that are not utilized and that can be re-envisioned to create better community gateways and also improve the quality of life in those areas. So this program was a $312 million statewide program. It's over 2 years. It's expected to create 3,600 jobs. 98% of the projects selected are in underserved communities. So what did we get in District 11 is 9 projects were selected in San Diego County and 2 projects were selected in Imperial County. Out of a total, so a total of 11 for District 11, out of a total of 126 projects that were selected statewide. Approximately in District 11, we netted about 32 million out of the 312 million statewide. What are we doing with these projects? Well, a couple of the examples are here. The one on the top shows the welcome sign into California, which is a really old sign and hard to see from the freeway. This is in San Isidro. Welcomes the people coming, particularly from across the border into our state. So one of the projects is going to be improving that gateway entrance into California as you come in from Mexico. The one on the bottom is a gateway project, but now we're looking at this opposite side of the county, in the northern parts of the county, in the city of Escondido, where we're going to be installing some sustainable landscaping as well as some fencing, which is what's shown here, and a community sign as well as some hardscaping as well. Let's go on to the next slide. So the projects, the 11 projects that are mentioned are spread out throughout the county, or the 9 that are in San Diego County are spread out towards throughout the county. In addition to the one that I mentioned in San Isidro and Escondido, we also have a project in National City that is looking at the west side of I-805 approximately at Plaza Boulevard. It's going to be installing some landscaping, hardscaping, some lighting, and some active transportation as well. We have one in Barrio Logan that I will be showing you on the next slide, where we're putting a linear park and some active transportation features as well. We have one in downtown where the I-5 curves are, where I mentioned that we're going to be doing one of those SWAR maintenance events soon. We're going to be installing some art in some of the walls that right now are gray and flat, and are collecting some graffiti occasionally. We're also going to be going to Ramona with a project. We're going to be doing some community improvements focused on particularly the people that are walking in downtown Ramona, trying to utilize the shops and the businesses that are there, making it easier for them to cross the state highway with better crosswalks, with better lighting. So making walking in downtown Ramona safer for everyone, and also more aesthetically pleasing with some hardscaping as well. We're also going to Vista with a project on State Route 78 to install some landscaping and some hardscaping there. And finally, we're also going to City Heights, and I'll be showing you a slide of what we're doing there as well. So let's go on to the next slide. So this slide shows you what we're doing in the Barrio Logan area on Boston Avenue. This is on the west side of I-5. And there is an area that is actually state right-of-way, which we're going to basically decertify and convert into and transfer it to the city. And we're going to be putting there a linear park in a neighborhood that badly needs parks, and because it's lacking in that respect. So we've been working on the final design with the Environmental Health Coalition and the San Diego Portside Community Steering Committee, as well as with the City of San Diego, because the city eventually will be taking over the park. And as you can see in the park, there is in purple a bike path that is going to meander through the park as well. So there's going to be active transportation, a park, as well as some lighting, hardscaping, and so on. So let's go on to the next slide.
Wait, what's the length of that?
That is about 2 blocks.
So it's a pretty short bike path.
Yes, it connects other active transportation facilities.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks.
Let's go on to the next slide. So this is what we're doing in City Heights at the transit plazas at University, at El Cajon on State Road 15. Some of the murals and banners and art that was originally planned as part of that project wasn't able to be completed because of lack of funding. So we saw an opportunity to put these missing pieces that the community had been asking for quite some time, since actually State Road 15 got built out there. So we saw a great opportunity as part of the Clean California project to fund these improvements, and therefore we were able to secure a project to finish the improvements at those 2 locations. So let's go on to the next slide. I mentioned that the beautification programs were 2. So I just covered the state beautification programs, and I'm going to talk about the local beautification grants. So this is a program that was announced in March by Governor Newsom. This is an additional $300 million of funds that actually went to 105 local beautification projects. In this case, 100% of the funds went to underserved communities. And the governor is proposing in the next budget, the next fiscal year budget, to increase, to add another 100 million and do another call for projects, because there was so much interest in this. So many local communities submitted their projects, but not everything could be funded. So this local grant program is also expected to generate another 3,600 jobs. And what did we get in San Diego? Well, we got 3 projects selected as part of this in San Diego, totaling approximately $11 million. We had a total of 22 applications in the San Diego and Imperial County area. And out of those 22, 3 got selected, which I'm going to cover in the next 3 slides. So let's go to the next slide. So the first one is called the National City East Side Community Greenbelt. This is an active transportation area that is going to be connecting an elementary school, a park, and also creating a multi-use pathway with landscaping and hardscaping as well, lighting, and some art as well. And this is actually, we held last week with Mayor Sotelo Solis, the first event in the whole state about projects that received these grants. So we're very thankful to Mayor Sotelo Solis for organizing this, and city staff for joining us, as well as Councilmember Morrison there. So this is going to be a great project, and it's fun. It received $5 million, which is the most that projects could get out of this grant. So let's go on to the next slide. The next slide, the next project is in Mayor Dedina's city, and the city of Imperial Beach received $863,000 for streetscape enhancements in the city of Imperial Beach. These enhancements include landscaping, pedestrian crossing, public art, lighting, as well as some street furniture, including some areas where people can sit. So this rendering kind of shows you what City of Imperial Beach is planning to do with that area. And we're very happy that the city was able to get that grant. So let's go on to the last one. The last grant was for the city of El Cajon. It's called the Oakland Alameda Gateway Project. It's another $5 million grant that the city of El Cajon received. They also are planning to do active transportation, some landscaping and hardscaping, some lighting, some trash collection devices, as well as murals for that gateway portion of the city of San Diego. So let's go on to the next slide. So education and outreach. We think that the mindset of keeping the state clean needs to start with young people. So in that respect, we've been going out to some schools, and we've been talking to kids of all ages. And some examples are the Gompers Preparatory Academy in Southeast San Diego, as well as the Calavera Hills in Carlsbad. We talk to kids about waste management. We are actually getting them excited into signing a pledge, which I'm going to show you in one of the next slides. And we basically work with them, educating them about the importance of keeping our state clean and how we can all make that happen. So let's go on to the next slide. Also, as part of the outreach, we've done some partnered community cleanups, and this is what I was talking about earlier, that some areas like San Diego Council District 4, 8, and 9 were doing community cleanups, or in South Bay, like the South Bay Sustainable Communities group was doing a cleanup, and they invite us to participate. We clean up the state highway next to where they're working, and it results in a clean area on both sides, on the city side as well as on the Caltrans side. So we want to thank the elected officials that participate in this. You can see Councilmember Vivian Moreno, I think, in one of these pictures. And we really appreciate that partnership, because it makes the best out of the resources at the state and the local level. Let's go on to the next slide. So this is the pledge that I was talking to you about. So we challenge elected officials. You actually see Councilmember Vivian Moreno, as well as Mayor Sotelo Solis there, signing the pledge. The pledge basically says that you pledge to properly dispose of trash and debris, to recycle, reuse, repurpose, or compost, to pick up litter when you see it, to tarp or secure waste when transporting items, to make decisions as a consumer to decrease the amount of trash that everybody generates, and to never overfill trash cans or dumpsters, to pack out waste when visiting parks and trails. And last but not least, to tell friends and family about this. So we're very excited about all the people that are volunteering to take this pledge. We welcome all of you to take the pledge as well with us. We're doing a little competition in our district. We have about 1,200 employees, and we're challenging all of our employees to take this pledge. And at the end, in a couple of weeks, we will see which division was able to secure the most number of pledges. So we're really excited about this, because I think it's one way, kind of a grassroots way of getting the word out. So my last slide is next. one of the things that that is also coming, that I think is one of the most lasting effects of this campaign, is going to be the public, a more formal public outreach campaign with ads and that kind of stuff. That is part of a $33 million contract that is being negotiated right now. I don't believe it has been awarded yet to the best firm, but there was a lot of interest. We did receive a lot of proposals for that contract. And that contract, it's going to supplement the Stormwater campaign that was launched a few months ago, but it's going to be much bigger than that. The Stormwater campaign was called Let's Change This to That, as you may recall. This campaign is going to come up with bigger taglines, more advertisements, trying to reach more people. And we're really excited about that because at the end of the day, we're hoping that the public will help generate less trash so that we don't have to commit as many resources as we have been in the last few months in this effort. So that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, thank you, Gustavo. It's really amazing how much progress has been made. I mean, since we formed this committee, that just the amount of work being done in this county, but also the focus from the state level on this. I mean, clearly there were some dedicated people who've been engaged in thinking about this for a while to come up with this full program of stipends for Adopt a Highway and in the classrooms and the Clean California Pledge and the new staffing and the arts grants. And I mean, it's really substantial and impressive. And I'm thrilled to see it as someone who, you know, spent some time on this committee where we like really admired the problem like in great detail and felt, you know, like there was limited opportunity to make substantial changes. It just really is impressive the amount that we're able to do now. I did have one question and then I'll go to my colleague, Mayor Dedina. We had talked about probationers, which they used to pick up trash a lot and then they stopped during COVID. And what's the status of that program?
That is an excellent question. And before I answer, let me also thank the entire committee, because I know that you, Chair Blake Spear, as well as some of the committee members, advocated for this for the governor and the legislature. And the reason that we were able to get 1.1 billion program is because of that advocacy from you and the rest of the committee members. With respect to the probationer program, I have good news and bad news. The good news is in Imperial County, the County of Imperial was able to restart that program. So we actually now have in Imperial County probationers, people that are fined, have fines, and instead of paying those fines, they do community service and pick up trash. That was restarted in February. So we're very happy about that. In San Diego County, unfortunately, that program still has not restarted. We continue working with the County of San Diego to try to see if we can imitate what the County of Imperial did and try to get that started again, because that program pre-COVID was giving us another 70 people on an average weekday and up to 100 people on weekends, on every weekend day to pick up trash. So it's almost like doubling the resources that we have with all that volunteer work. So we're hoping for good news in San Diego County as well, hopefully soon.
And is this?
I'm happy to follow up. I'm happy to follow up with that. I thought I heard something else, but I'll follow up with that. This is Supervisor Vargas.
That's what I was going to say. Is this a supervisor decision, or that was what I was going to ask?
No, I think it was related to COVID and some of the strict rules that we had about people congregating, et cetera, et cetera. That's one of the reasons why it stopped. So let me follow up, because I was under the understanding that I was getting back on track, but I will follow up and circle back and see where things are.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Supervisor. Yeah, any help there getting that restarted would be great, because as Gustavo said, that's like 70 to 100 more people a weekend. That's amazing. And it's great for people who don't want to pay a fine. You know, they'd rather do community service, which seems like it's a good situation for everyone. Okay, so let me call on my other colleagues here on this committee. Mayor Dedina.
I guess I'll just repeat every word that the chair said. So yeah, remarkable work, really impressive. And I guess a really great example of bottoms up and top down advocacy, and then, you know, leading to actual specific action and impact. So really impressive, Gustavo. And then obviously thanks for the grant for Imperial Beach. We really appreciate that. And 10th Street's been problematic since I was a kid. So I do appreciate that. So that'll make a big difference of that formerly Caltrans owned corridor. And then, not to burst the bubble, but that I really do notice all the improvements. I do notice, it seems like the area that seems to be always problematic is that Palm Avenue on ramp to I-5. It seems like the minute you guys clean it up, people like literally just throw all their garbage everywhere. So just to make a note of that. But again, appreciate the great strategic, smart work and collective effort to actually, make a difference. So, and then, invest in communities that actually need it. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Huebner.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, ditto, Gustavo. This was very impressive. Appreciate it all. My question is on Adopt a Highway. I see that's our next item, but I'll just ask the questions. Maybe you can include them in your presentation. And that is, when people adopt a highway, how long of a stretch is it? Number one, and number two, does that include ramps? Because as Mayor Dedina just said, in Solana Beach, it's our on ramps and off ramps are they're just terrible. And I'm wondering, do cities ever adopt a certain area? Because it seems like because we're prevented from cleaning these up because it's Caltrans. Of course, maybe we could talk to our chamber and our other businesses, but those are the questions that I would have for you next presentation.
Very good.
Do you want to answer them now, or do you want to do it on the next presentation?
Either way is okay with me. I can answer it now.
Okay. Go ahead.
So I believe the stretches of highway are 2-mile stretches, but our Adopt a Highway coordinator is here. If I got that wrong, Andrew, please maybe raise your hand and you can speak up. And we do adopt ramps. Now, not every piece of the highway or not every ramp is adoptable. First, our maintenance people have to make sure that it's safe for organizations to adopt, because like I mentioned, there are some areas that require traffic closures that you can't get to unless you close them to traffic. And if you go on our website, on our external website, there's an Adopt a Highway map that I'm actually looking at it right now, and it's color coded, and it shows you in green the areas that are available, including the ramps that are available. It shows you in blue the things that have been adopted, and in red the things that unfortunately are not adoptable because of safety concerns. So there are some opportunities. I would say a lot of the areas in the urban part of town have been adopted, but there are some opportunities there. There are more adoptions available in the rural places because they're hard to get to. With gasoline costing $6 a gallon, people don't want to drive far to clean up an area where they may not even live or have business. So you can look at our map and see what's available. And then contact us and we would be happy to give you more information about it. Like I mentioned, under Clean California, organizations that adopt a location get $250 per month. It may not cover the entire cost, but it's better than what we had before, which was nothing. So it did lead to 82 adoptions, and there are groups, and I think it's leading to more sponsorships as well, which means people adopting an area, but paying a contractor to take care of the cleanup instead of going there themselves to clean it up.
And so the ramps that might be dangerous, and I can imagine that ours might be one of those, I guess that if it was adopted, then we would coordinate with Caltrans on when that would be closed and that the crews could come in, and how often could that be?
Yeah, if there's a specific location that you're interested in, we can have a side conversation and we can involve our maintenance staff and our Adopt a Highway coordinator and see what we can do for that specific location.
Yeah, and I think others have mentioned there are on and off ramps too, so that's I mentioned it as well. Okay, thank you, Gustavo.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll just say, as a neighbor who goes into Aliso Huebner City all the time, the southbound Loma Santa Fe off-ramp, there's a big concrete Caltrans wall, and it is the kind of thing that seems like it would be dangerous to have an individual person or group doing. And I'm sure that I would guess that's something that would be closed for a brief period and cleaned, but it does seem like it needs more frequent cleaning. And I'll just say that it is, our city has adopted a lot of our on and off ramps. And I know the city of Solana Beach could adopt that one if it's not already been adopted, but it might be one of those things too, where of the many you said, there have been ones where people just really aren't doing it or not doing a good job. And that's part of your accountability. And so maybe this would be one to look at a little bit more closely, because I agree with her that it is a kind of a problem.
It's a problem because it's like the walls create this vortex, which seems like it sucks all of the trash there. Keeps it there.
We'll
Yeah.
take a look at it.
Thanks, Gustavo.
Good. Well, that would be exciting if that one got cleaned up. Okay, Councilmember Musgrove.
Yes, thank you, Gustavo. A great presentation. Just a couple of quick questions. The statewide beautification program, you've targeted SR 78 in the Vista area. Is that for the overpasses, on and off ramps and adjacent rights of way? And will you be working along the corridor between Escondido and Oceanside to pick up San Marcos and Carlsbad with cleanup projects on 78?
That project is specific to the city of Vista. I don't have the limits with me off the top of my head, but I know Alan Kosop is part of this meeting as well, and he may, if he can raise his hand, he can give you the specifics. And it is hardscaping and landscaping in 78 within the limits of Vista.
Okay, so as of now, no plans to extend that out between the east and west borders of 78?
No, there are limited funds, and that's the stretch that we can cover with the limited funds that we have from this beautification project.
Well, when I get my $400 check, Gustavo, I'll send it to you happily to include San Marcos. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Mendoza.
Just quick comment. I just want to thank you for all the work that you've done here in Lemon Grove. I know we had big homeless cleanup along the 94, the south side of the 94 in Lemon Grove on Caltrans property, and then also the large trash pickup, which was actually in La Mesa. And I think I heard you say that you're going to do one of those again. And we'll make sure that people know not to drop trash off after you guys have left, which happens last time. But anyway, we appreciate all the work that you're doing here and around the county. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Council Member.
Okay, and then I'm going to ask Francesca if we have any public comments.
Thank you, Chair. We do have one member of the public with their hand up. Catherine Rhodes, you can go ahead when you're ready.
Lovely. Thank you so much. And I agree, wonderful presentation. And so I just had a few small questions. In your slides, it said, creating front doors to communities. Is that the stuff regarding homeless, where you're going to allow homeless, to use your air rights on Caltrans property? I didn't understand what creating front doors to communities mean. And then my other question, or two more questions. What's the % of trash on the freeway that comes from cars versus the illegal dumping versus homeless camps? Because I think it's probably most of it from homeless camps, but I don't know. And then also, does Caltrans in San Diego have any plans to create new types of homeless facilities like the Neil Good Day Center on Caltrans land in San Diego County? I believe Los Angeles and San Francisco in the last couple of years opened up a few different programs for the homeless, but nothing has been proposed in San Diego County in over 30 years. So any plans for that? Thank you so much.
Perfect. Catherine, let me address your three questions. So the first one, what does front door communities mean? So that's gateway projects where we're basically improving the entrance into a city. So an example of that is what I mentioned in San Isidro as being the gateway into California, actually from Mexico, the gateway project that we're doing in Escondido, as well as some of the improvements we're doing in downtown Ramona. That is not related to homeless encampments. The second question was, what is the percentage by mode? Is it, how much is it coming from vehicles versus homeless encampments or other sources? And we unfortunately don't have any scientific numbers that we can share with you. We know that all of the above contribute to trash, but and anecdotally, you may not see trash escaping vehicles, but because it's not every vehicle that lets trash out of their vehicles. But you saw that the picture of that pickup truck, and all it takes is one of those or a big truck with a bunch of loose items that creates a lot of trash. So it's coming from all the sources, but I cannot give you a scientific percentage of how much is coming from each. The last question regarding homeless facilities. So we do have some excess land, as you pointed out in your initial comments, and the excess land that we have, we usually put out for sale because the state can recuperate some of its cost by selling land that is not needed. So before we put excess land on sale, we, number one, see if there is any benefit, if it could benefit some of the causes that you mentioned, like either homeless housing areas or some feeding stations or other things like that. We also offer the excess land to local communities before we put it out on the market. So when an excess land is deemed to be eligible for potentially homeless causes, then we put that on hold. And there are some parcels that we put on hold in my district, which is here in San Diego County. And we've been working with the County of San Diego to see if there's interest, and there is interest. We haven't been able to put in a shelter like you mentioned or anything like that yet, but there have been discussions with the county regarding a couple of potential locations for that. And then we also look at excess land with the interest of affordable housing, and to that extent, we work with the organizations like the Housing Commission, and again, if there's an interest for that, then we would turn it over to the city, sell it over to the city for a purpose like that. And then the city can work with developers to bring affordable housing. So there are some locations that are like that as well. So I hope that I answer your question.
Okay, thank you. I just have one or two just final comments before we move on from this. So one was that you said that there is a goal of cleaning 1 ramp per month, but you're actually cleaning 20. And I just wanted to recommend that you raise the goal. So, because clearly 1 would be way too few given that you're already doing 20. So maybe have a goal of like 21 or 25 or 1 a day or something. Do you want to respond to that?
Sure, it's 1 per month per crew. So it's not 1 per month and we're doing 20. It's 1 per crew. So we have different crews. But yes, our goal is more than 1 per month. We want our crews to at least do a swarm maintenance. This is on top of all the other cleanups that they do, to close an area and do a major cleanup of that area per month. But right now they're doing more than the 5, more than 5 per month. They're actually doing 20. We could raise our goal. There have been some instances, particularly in January, where we were hard hit by COVID, and we were virtually shut down almost on all of our programs because of the number of cases that we had in January. And every maintenance station we had was an outbreak site in January. So that could be a challenge moving forward if that comes back.
Right. Okay. And then I just feel like there are a few more things I just feel like I want to say, because this is the litter abatement subcommittee and this is like the forum for this discussion. We have a lot of Caltrans projects in our city as part of Build NCC, and sometimes the construction projects end up leaving like the construction signs sort of temporarily, but they're like months and months of temporarily just sort of scattered helter-skelter, either in the bushes or next to things or sort of in the middle of the road at medians. I just wanted to put out there that to the extent we're able to encourage our contractors to kind of like clean their job site and not just leave signs like that all around that they're down or they're folded up, but they're not, it's still basically like clutter and it's just not clean. So I wanted to just put that out there. I know Alan Kossip is on here too, and he runs the Build NCC project. The other thing is that we will have a lot more miles coming on when Build NCC is done, because it's all this section of North County on the 5 that is currently managed by a contractor and will need to come back to Caltrans for maintenance. So I just hope that we're thinking about how to reintegrate all those miles. into, keeping clean, because that obviously will need ongoing maintenance. And then the section where the 5 and the 805 split and then merge back together, I continue to feel like that area, not the exact section where it splits, but a little bit farther down. And then as it comes in, both of those just remain just a lot of litter and trash kind of all the time. It does seem like it maybe is a little better, but whenever I drive on that split, I'm always like hoping that this effort with litter will address those sections. And just like Mayor Dodino was saying, I know there are things that just fill up right away, and this is probably part of that area, but I think that just means we have to clean it more as we continue to work on source reduction and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to make sure I make those comments. I see the vice chair has popped on. Supervisor Nora Vargas, did you want to say a comment or question? No? Okay. I saw you popped on recently, so I just want to make sure to ask. Okay, well, I think, do you have anything else you want to say, Gustavo, on this topic before we move to the next one?
No, there are some areas like you pointed out, and Mayor Dina pointed out, that tend to collect more trash and more frequently than others. And like you mentioned, we need to double down our efforts in those areas. With respect to the homeless, I also wanted to mention the partnership that we have with the city to reach out to encampments and with the city of San Diego, that is, and to reach out to encampments and offers housing options as well as services, because the freeway is not a safe people to be in, and we've had some pretty good success as part of our outreach, and I know that we're also working with the county in unincorporated areas to do a similar thing. So we really appreciate the partnership with the city of San Diego and the county of San Diego in that respect.
Okay, good. Great. Well, let's move on to, this was a really good conversation. Our next item is the Adopt a Highway program. Did you have additional information on that one? This is item number 4.
No, I incorporated the information as part of my presentation. So if there are any other questions about Adopt a Highway, I can address them now.
Okay, Mayor Huebner?
Yeah, I looked on the website and saw that the 2 on-ramps in Solana Beach are adopted by non-Solana Beach businesses, but they're obviously not doing a very good job. So how do we get them to clean up more often, send their crews, or at least have a discussion with them through Caltrans? How does that work, Gustavo?
We will take a look at them. We do get reports. We get pictures when the groups do the cleanups, and if we don't get pictures, it means that we don't have proof they have cleaned up, and that's why we evicted, so to speak, more than 70 organizations. But we can take a look at those areas and share with you the reports that we receive, so that you can see they are required to clean once a month. All of the adoptees are required to clean once a month. So in some of the areas that collect more trash, maybe there, you see more trash because it needs a cleanup more than that. And in that case, then we need to step up with our resources and supplement what the adoptees are doing.
And then I saw that there was these were just the on-ramps, and I only see blue dots, and I don't see the other colors that would show that they were unavailable or available. So the off-ramps seem to be the ones that collect. So is the map incomplete, or is there some reason that it's blank?
No, Mayor, if you click on each dot, there is a description.
Yeah, I clicked on them. That's how I got the names of the people who had the on-ramps. So it's the off-ramps in them.
So so I'm clicking one of the dots, and it says it's the Via de la Valle off-ramp and Via de la Valle on-ramp. So
I'm looking, that's not Solana Beach. That's so that's City of San Diego. So I'm looking at Loma Santa Fe.
Loma Santa Fe, it says they've adopted the off-ramp and the on-ramp.
Oh, it says both? Okay, all right. Well, they need to do some work. Okay, so we need to talk to them.
Yeah, and again, it's possible that they're doing their 1 month cleanup, that monthly cleanup that is required. And if we have pictures of bags being collected, then it's not a problem with the adoptee. It's a problem that there's more trash than can be picked up once a month. So we need to step up our efforts then.
Okay, we would appreciate that stepping up. Yeah, thanks.
I mean, one of the things we had talked about with Adopt a Highway before too, was that sometimes when it's a business or a restaurant or something, there might be some trash picked up, but they basically aren't making it clean. like it's not actually cleaned. It's just, there's some trash that's picked up, but it's not actually like doing the job. And I think that was one of the reasons that Gustavo, you had suggested that it's better when it's actually adopted by something like I Love a Clean San Diego, because they have a high standard and know what they're doing and also know what tools they need. And, you know, they mobilize volunteers to do it all together. And it just, it's successful versus it being kind of like mostly unsuccessful.
Yes, and actually on the sponsorships, it's contractors that do this for a living. They pick up trash. The organizations that adopt the ramp or the stretch of highway, they hire a contractor and they pay a contractor that goes and picks up trash. It's not a volunteer organization in that case.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to me, it continues to seem like, I know it's great to hear about the accountability with some of these groups, that you are like kind of cleaning house and getting rid of some dead wood. But it does seem to me like Adopt a Highway is a really important part of you being able to keep so many miles of freeway clean, because you just don't have the power to be able to cover everything. And if there are sections that others are maintaining, it reduces your workload. So, you know, continuing to be focused on filling those and advertising for those and overseeing them and making sure they're done well, it just seems like all of that is a really good use of resources for Caltrans. And I do hope, you know, it seems like things are a little better. I definitely see more people working out there. And from your presentation, there's a lot more effort going in. I still I don't feel like we're quite there in terms of it being, you know, as clean as I would hope it will get to, but I'm hoping that you have so many new processes and approaches and new personnel and things that we're just much closer to being able to achieve that. And it's less hopeless feeling. And so I'm really happy about that. But you know, it does seem like this continued focus on Adopt a Highway is really important. Yeah. Okay. Are there any public comments on this item? Because we have one other presentation from I Love a Clean San Diego to get to.
Thank you, Chair. I don't see any hands from the public on this.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Gustavo, and keep up the great work. And I hope you'll stick around for the next presentation. This is from I Love a Clean San Diego, and the new executive director, Steve Morris, who will be informing us about the organization and highlighting upcoming events. Is he on the phone, on the Zoom? There he is.
Sorry, everyone. I had to rejoin as a panelist. So here I am. I was just in the queue observing. Can you hear me okay?
We can. Good to see you. And hear
yeah,
you.
Nice to meet everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Steve Morris, and as the chairperson noted, I am brand new to the organization, I Live a Clean San Diego. So this is week 6 for me. I'll give you a little bit of background about myself in a moment, but thank you for having me, Chairperson Blake Spear, and mayors, council members, supervisors, staff, everyone in attendance. I'm really privileged to be here. I'm a native San Diegan, so this organization is very close to my heart. Grew up in East County, but the last 8 years I was with the YMCA of San Diego County. And in particular, I was in Imperial Beach at our YMCA Camp Surf. So I know Mayor Dedina well and that part of the county. Now I live in Carlsbad. So I'm up here in North County. And I just want to share a little bit about the organization. I believe my predecessor had gotten involved with this subcommittee and had a big passion for litter abatement, especially tarping loads and all the unnecessary litter we find on our highways and roads. So I am going to share my screen because I want to use our website to show you a couple of the very unique tools we were able to develop through COVID. Obviously, you can imagine an organization like ours that gets volunteers mobilized to go out and clean up was limited during the pandemic. So I'm going to share a couple of screenshots. So this one here first, if you can all see the about, and there's a nice photo there just to make sure everything's working. If you didn't know a little bit about our history, we were originally formed, I love this, as the San Diego War Against Litter Committee in 1954. I know no one on this call is old enough to have been around then, so you don't remember that, but we evolved over the last 67 years. We merged with another nonprofit, the San Diego County Ecology Center, in 1989, and we have become I Love a Clean San Diego. We mobilize over 100,000 students, adults, and businesses every year. COVID, those numbers dipped a little bit, but we expect this year to be back up to these numbers. And we really have three major areas of focus. We have environmental education. So we get into schools, we teach our kids about stewardship and sustainability. We have basically community engagement, which is this volunteer cleanup and beautification programs. A lot of what our Caltrans representative talked about. And then this third arm is probably our fastest growing department, and that's recycling and zero waste solutions. Obviously with SB 1383 and a lot of the new initiatives coming into the fold, the community is looking for resources and answers to how to be better citizens, how to consume less, and what to do with products when they are done with their use. So something you may not be aware of is we have a contract with the County of San Diego to provide this website, which is called Waste Free SD. And if you don't know it, check it out. You basically go here, you can plug in items, zip code, a community, what you want to do with it, repair, donate, recycle, and try to figure out where to take it or how to dispose of it properly. This all came initially from a database that we put together of all these resources around the county. And it's really to empower the local community members, give them solutions. There's also a hotline tied in with this that we manage from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. 5 days a week. So people can call in if they're not computer savvy or they don't have access to the internet. They can call the hotline, speak to a live person who has access to this database, and provide solutions to the community. So great resource. If you're not aware, I really wanted to plug this because a lot of people don't know that. I mean, they think of I Live a Clean San Diego. If you're familiar with us, you're used to seeing us do cleanups, but you don't know that we also have this great kind of back of house resource as well. So I'm going to spend the majority of the time talking about a couple of events that are coming up. Our two biggest events in the year happen in April and September. So April, Earth Month, a lot of you are familiar with that, or Earth Week. This event, Creek to Bay Cleanup Day, is usually on the Saturday just following Earth Day. This year, it happens to be April 23rd. I think our supporter from Caltrans has an event that day as well. A lot of people will be having events on the 23rd because it's the day after, it's a Saturday after Earth Day. But this is 20 years running strong. It's our 20th anniversary, and it's the largest in San Diego County active community organized cleanup. And registration opens April 1st. And if you're not familiar with it right now, we have about 70 sites across the county, probably in your city or district already. And we have either our staff or site captains running. You can register online and show up, and they provide you with like the buckets and the gloves and the grabbers, and then we collect. And what we saw during COVID, when we couldn't organize people together in person, was we created a resource where groups could go do their own cleanups in their own neighborhoods or wherever they wanted, and then log the data and send it in to us. So I'm going to show you this down below. It's an awesome resource through GIS technology, this map right here. So these are the 2021 stats. So all these dots represent cleanups that happened and data that was logged. So if we want to be fun here, let's pick Encinitas and let's see what we have here. Jackie was the organizer. There were 2 volunteers. They picked up 25 pounds of trash. 5 pounds of that was recyclable, 33 cigarette butts. And the unusual item they found was a retainer. So some kid or some person lost their retainer and it ended up being collected in the cleanup. So, you know, COVID did cause some innovation to happen, which is a good thing. So we're going to continue this resource this year and allow people, if they don't want to show up to one of the 70 plus cleanup sites that we're organizing, they can do their own, send and log the data, and then we'll have this resource available. Obviously, this is a free resource to all of your cities and districts to find out what's being collected and where. So please don't forget to come back. This is at creektobay.org and check out the information here when we're done. There's also easy instructions on how to do that if you have community members organizing their own cleanup. If you want to join one of ours, we'd love to have you. We have lots of partners who help underwrite this event. Some of your cities are on here. So thank you for your continued support, all these great organizations. Like I said, registration opens April 1st. But if you have questions in the meantime, there's a contact site here. These are our 2 staff members involved coordinating the event. And just so you see some of the results, I'm going to scroll back up here to some of the data. So since this event was founded 20 years ago, this event alone has been responsible for collecting 2.7 million pounds of litter, which we like to say is then blocked from entering the ocean. So this is in creeks and streams, and if it's on the roads and it gets washed into our storm drains, obviously it all ends up in the ocean. So pretty astounding number. 83,000 volunteers over that 20 years. And then 350 communities cleaned up and beautified. And if there's a section of San Diego that you represent that you feel needs more support, certainly reach out and we will try to get a cleanup organized there on April 23rd. So this massive event happens in about a month from tomorrow. And our other big event is in September, I mentioned, that's International Coastal Cleanup Day. And we really focus on the coastal regions and the creek beds and riverbeds that flow into that. We don't discriminate, we'll clean anywhere. And in this event, Creek to Bay, again, we're out in the valleys, we're up in the mountains, we're in the alleyways, anywhere you want to go. Now, another piece of this is we also do bucket drive fundraisers. So we actually sell branded buckets with our logo and grabbers that you can send community members to purchase, or if you have a team that wants to go out. I mean, this is a safe way to pick up litter. We obviously discourage people from using plastic trash bags to pick up litter because that's now a single-use plastic bag that's being thrown away. So our next bucket drive fundraiser is coming up on April 9th in Carlsbad. And you can get details. I'll be there. In fact, our board is going to staff this event because they want to show our team, our staff, that they support these kind of things and reduce our costs, obviously, in staff time. They want our staff out educating the community, not necessarily selling buckets. And these can be pre-purchased and all you got to do is show up and pick them up. So if you want to meet some of our board members, I'll be out there as well, April 9th in Carlsbad. I can't remember the exact, it's at a church parking lot near the village in Carlsbad. You can find out information again here at creektobay.org. All right, one more or two more sections. This is the actual community hub site for Creek to Bay. So you can see if you have community members interested in finding a cleanup near them, this is where they would go. Again, it opens April 1st, so you can't do that right now, but North County Coastal, North County Inland, so on and so forth, all the way down. And again, we're offering both options this year. They can show up in person, or they can do their own cleanup in their own location on their own and just register it with us to log the data. So we're kind of doing a hybrid. This will be the first time that it's offering both options. So that's it for Creek to Bay. Obviously, that's the event coming up right around the corner. And the other event I wanted to mention that's coming back that kind of went away during COVID, and it's in Chairperson Blake Spear's district, is the 7th annual Zero Waste Fair. So this is in Encinitas. This is at the EUSD Farm Lab. If you haven't been there, it's a very cool location with classrooms, and it's got some teaching areas about sustainability. It's really, I went to one of our workshops there a couple weeks ago. This event is on June 25th, Saturday, June 25th from 10 to 1. And it's really meant to be an educational event, even though it is kind of a fair where you'll have booths and different vendors. We ask all of our vendors to be providing some type of education, not just kind of selling products or engaging in commerce. So it's meant to teach the community about sustainable solutions. When we talk about zero waste, people kind of roll their eyes and think, oh, I have to live like a hippie or something to have no waste. But there's really easy solutions that people can make with their everyday choices that can prevent some of the single-use products from entering into the landfills. When we look at a hierarchy of zero waste, we talk about recycling being at the top, meaning that that's kind of the first level. The next level down would be, composting and then reusing, repairing. And the last one we say, it's basically, you don't like when you think, oh, I need to go buy this, you think, well, how can I get what I need without going to buy a new product? How can I just use the things that I have and the resources I have? And that's how you create a zero waste lifestyle. So this event, it's coming back. I think it will be very popular this year since it was gone for 2 years. Registration is actually open for that. So you can check this out in the city of Encinitas coming up on June 25th. So I didn't spend much time, again, talking about myself at the beginning. So I'll just give you a few more bullet points on my background. So I studied at the University of California in Santa Barbara. That's the only time I went away from San Diego. Business economics was my degree, kind of shifting into the nonprofit world. I got a master's here at the University of San Diego in nonprofit leadership and management in their nonprofit institute. I just really have a passion, obviously, for our community. I'm a avid hiker, surfer. So everything that I Love a Clean San Diego stands for is right in my wheelhouse of passions. We have a strong team of about 25 staff members, an office located in Kearny Mesa currently, used to be in Liberty Station at the San Diego Foundation if you visited us before. And we're just excited to get people back into the community. A lot of our corporate partners are really interested in getting their, and I'll stop the share, getting their employees back out into the community. You know, San Diego Gas and Electric, Cox Communications, they're partners of ours, and you're going to see them out in force, especially on Creek to Bay Day, April 23rd, because they've felt the COVID buildup of not being able to be out in the community. So that's probably my focus for the next few months, is getting all of our events back up to speed and people re-engaged. As far as our plans down the road, we'll be working on a new strategic plan, obviously a new ED myself, and we have some new board members who just joined. So we'll have more information to share about the future and where we're headed down the road. But for now, just a quick update. Happy to answer any questions. And again, thank you to all of you on this call who are supporters of our organization and the efforts to make San Diego a zero waste, litter free community. So thank you for the time, and I'll open it up now to questions.
Well, thank you so much, Steve. You know, Sandag did, in partnership, did an event last year, the whole organization, on the that Coastal Cleanup Day, not Coastal Cleanup Day, but the one in April that you started
Creek to Bay,
talking about. Creek to Bay Day. Yeah, and it was very successful. And we picked up a lot of trash. So you do, yeah, you really do save a lot of trash from going into the ocean and just in general looking terrible all over the place. So it's great that you're working so hard on that. We really appreciate the commitment. I don't see any hands up from board members, so let's go and see if we have any public comments.
Thank you, Chair. No hands from the public.
Okay. Well, good. Well, we hope to see you soon. And I think if you wanted your organization to adopt any of those highway segments, we would love to have I Love a Clean San Diego, because of, you know, what you're able to marshal, be involved in that. So I hope you guys think about that.
We will, and that is actually an agenda point at our next executive team meeting. So thank you for bringing that up.
Good. That's great. Okay, so I think the next we have, if we have any general member comments on any other items, I'd like to ask the members of this committee if you have any items you'd like to see at the Litter Abatement Subcommittee. You know, we've been meeting for a little while now, and I think we've actually done some good work and had some good public, it's really the convening function, you know, having a public dialogue about a topic of interest that doesn't have another place, to have local electeds talk to each other and talk with advocates, and of course Caltrans, who's the main transportation artery in this county. You know, that this dialogue has been very productive, and I want to make sure that we're covering the things the board members are interested in. So Mayor Dedina, do you have a comment?
Well, no, I think, you know, today was an interesting day because we had, you know, good follow-up from Caltrans and, you know, discussion of other issues that need to be addressed, but, you know, there's progress. You know, Steve, I forgot to unmute myself. I wanted to just congratulate you. And of course, it's a pleasure to work with you. And I Live a Clean San Diego, and your predecessor and I had conversations, and then, you know, Catherine had conversations. It was all of us at the same time. And, you know, I Love a Clean San Diego is an instrumental part of this subcommittee, but I would definitely, I think we had a very unsatisfying talk at some point from the CHP about enforcement and stuff. Maybe be interesting to see about, you know, I think Caltrans has stepped up. I'm not so sure CHP has in terms of the enforcement part and, you know, the sort of like, you know, monitoring what do they call, the tow trucks when they're responding, because that's been a problem. And number two, just enforcement. So that may be something to think about.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And for members of the committee who are new, you know, when there's a car accident, CHP is the one who is kind of overseeing the whole management of that site, like when the bumper falls off or the glass shatters, and making sure that that is properly removed and cleaned up. And, you know, there's a whole variety of different tow truck companies and different categories and things. So, you know, this was something that we went into in a previous meeting. And it's also true that they are the ones who are kind of, their shift is to drive the section and take a look at it. So if there is something there, or there is just a lot of trash that's on the side, you know, them reporting it to Caltrans to go clean up is a really important piece of the puzzle. It needs to happen. And if they don't take ownership of doing that, then, you know, it could be a long time before somebody in the public reports it, or Caltrans just happens to find it or whatever. So I think, yeah, that was something that I did like you feel like we could probably revisit that. Okay, so I'll take that under advisement. Any other things from committee members?
Well, one thing, maybe if CHP does, I think last night we had their lowest level employee that responded. You know, I think it's clear that Gustavo's on leadership as a district director. We did not get that response from CHP. I was very unsatisfied with CHP's response, and would hope that there's an improvement in that, and you know that they didn't seem to take this issue very seriously. So anyway.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me talk with Sandex staff about following up on that. Okay, anything else? We are right a minute before 4:30, which I'm always happy to be able to end on time. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming to this and caring about this topic and participating. We don't have our next litter committee scheduled, but we will follow up on that. And with that, we are adjourned. So have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.